Welcome back, my friends. I'm Lisa Grail. Today we are going to dive deep into manifestation, but not in the way you've read about it in countless books. This conversation will take us past visualization and affirmations into the very structure of consciousness itself and how your state of being is the true key to abundance. When we understand first logically how it works, it's much easier to attune ourselves to the miracles. Most of what you hear in mainstream teachings is this: think positive, imagine you already have what you want, fake it till you make it. Play the role as if it's already yours. And yes, there is a truth there, but that's only part of the story. Because the mind can imagine, the mouth can affirm, and the heart can hope, but if the deeper programs inside you don't change, manifestation will always feel like pushing against a wall. The missing piece here is the reticular activating system. There is a reticular activating system inside our brain. It's like a filter. Imagine the world broadcasting infinite channels of information. This little system is the remote control that decides which channels you are allowed to see. What determines the choices? Subconscious programs. If your subconscious says the world is dangerous, you will see danger everywhere. If it says money is hard to get, you literally miss opportunities that contradict that belief. You will choose hard work instead of giving yourself a chance to create some joyful business and have money from this business. Abundance is always present, but your system won't register it. So if you ask, do we have a choice? The answer is yes and no at the same time. I will phrase it like this. Choice is happening within the tunnel of the subconscious personal idea of the personality who is perceiving reality. In other words, programs of the mind is like a filter that makes us choose what we choose and act accordingly, even if your soul wants opposite. That's why any regrets about the past are useless. Just accept the idea that your operational system was not decoding the space in alliance with your spirit. That's why affirmations alone do not work. You cannot trick your nervous system into abundance. You must step into a new state of consciousness where new channels of perception become visible. When awakening first happened to me on December 31st in 2020, at the cashiers of grocery store, it was like a fog suddenly lifted at that moment, but only for 10 seconds. I could hardly catch this magical window that opened to me. I realized that reality was layered like a hologram. The colors were brighter, the senses sharper, the thoughts were gone. It felt like I had been asleep my whole life and I was finally waking up. Then you know my story. Within 5 consecutive years, I stabilized the state and expanded it. The magical thing about the layers of our reality is that imagine 2 people that sitting in the same room. They are looking at the same cup, and yet they are living in completely different realities. One is locked in stress, the other is perceiving beauty, texture, energy. The difference isn't morality, whether one is a good person, a saint, another is a sinner. No, it's frequency. The perception is different. Think of your body like a buoy in the ocean. When you are heavy with fears and programs, you sink. When you are light and aligned, you float to the surface where clarity exists. Manifestation is not about building a bigger boat, it's about changing the density of the buoy of your body. With that said, we can see that manifestation isn't about forcing happiness. It's about entering a natural, nourishing state where deficiency and suffering doesn't exist. It feels almost like a gentle psychedelic. But it's your natural chemistry when your nervous system is balanced. In this state, you don't chase or cling. You don't even need a reason to feel joy. Being itself is enough. Naturally induced highs involve the release of several key chemicals in the brain, including endocannabinoids, dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, and oxytocin. Yes, cannabinoids are among the chemicals released. Your brain produces its own versions called endocannabinoids, which are distinct from the plant-derived compounds, phytocannabinoids, in cannabis. To get high just once is not enough, as you might guess, because the subconscious programs are very hard to erase. And not all programs dissolve at once when we get high for the first time. Some are deeply imprinted. If you are honest with yourself, you will recognize what still lives inside you, because the body shows resistance, fear, irritation in some given situations. That's how you know the program is active. For example, someone with a trauma of injustice may constantly feel attacked by unfairness. They judge others and themselves harshly. Reality mirrors this until it's released. But high state itself helps to do the final work of integration, so that one day you will be surprised that there is no more reaction arising within you. Another aspect of our life which is very connected with our state of consciousness is food. I've noticed how food shapes consciousness. Heavy meals pull you into thoughts of hopelessness. In the high vibrational state, the same mind sees beauty, fairness, and abundance. But if you're super high, food might not affect you at all. Just lower the state a little bit. That's why body practices matter. Kundaliniyoga, breathwork, conscious eating, movement, all tune the chemistry that sets your frequency. One powerful practice, which I would always recommend to beginners, is to stop judging and start perceiving. Notice colors, textures, sounds, as if the world was a painting. When you do this, you gradually dive into present moment. From the expanded state of consciousness, actions arise naturally. Sometimes they make no logical sense, yet they open miraculous doors of another perception, like a chance conversation in a store that changes your life, some random people and events. Manifestation unfolds not in straight lines, but in quantum leaps. First, you will be surprised each day how miracles happen, and then you will see and recognize that this is just your ability of your consciousness to shape reality according to your soul desires. And let me remind you what tools stabilize our spiritual awakening. One tool is stop judging and start perceiving. Drop labels, notice textures, light, sound. Then breath work, even 5 minutes of rhythmic breathing resets the nervous system. Kundaliniyoga, it was the foundation of my awakening. It activates glands and harmonizes energy, provokes release of hormones. Also, being present in the body, or body scanning. Feel the body each second of time. How you feel, where is the tension? Relax all tension in the body with the force of your attention. Emotional honesty. Name fear or irritation without feeding it, without self-judging. Fasting and light diets. Release free energy from digestion for consciousness expansion. Conscious walking. One of my favorites. Long walks as meditation to expand perception. And sure, the best, sleep deprivation. More about spiritual awakening I was talking on my Telegram channel. During the course, all materials are still available via 3 months of subscription. Hit me on Telegram to receive more information. Another very important key for manifestations is dissolving everything you believed. It's the hardest part. These beliefs form the prison walls of the dense reality or 3D world we are born in. The hardest programs imprinted in our subconscious mind, in our brain, is food program and aging. But when we are born into this society, it's a starting point which is absolutely real, but only in the same dense and rigid state of consciousness. We can change it any time. Happens what we believed in. It's a law. But there is no ultimate truth. You can decide. That's not true. In my reality, everything is possible. Money can flow with ease. The body can regenerate at any age. Love can be effortless and natural. Whatever you create in the expanded state of consciousness will be working for you. Each time the mind draws controlling scenarios, release them. Reality is always larger than the mind. You will see how the outside reality, all your surrounding, will be reproducing and projecting their programs on you. Sure, they're not doing this to harm you. It's just their picture of the world and it's truth for them. That's why any debates are just a wasted time. When you drop old stories, manifestation stops being mental effort and becomes a natural movement of life. New neural pathways form out of new experiences. Also, very important point in the topic of manifestations is that people do not know what they really want. In expanded consciousness, many old desires lose their meaning, not because they are impossible, but because you are already fulfilled. And paradoxically, what you truly need arrives effortlessly. Money, resources, connections precisely for the purpose. Deficiency state is not only about money, it's the body believing it constantly needs more. In higher states, you realize you are energy, surrounded by energy, prana. The body becomes a radiant vessel, not a consumer. So again, life without food is possible only in very stable, expanded state of consciousness. And that's why all manifestations shift from ego-driven wants to pure alignment. Every human being is seeking this state. Many chase it in relationships, possessions, or travels, but all external sources are temporary. The state must be cultivated within. Not for nothing they say the kingdom of God is within you. The holy grail we are searching for is the alchemy of our own body and the state that gives us completely different visuals and sensual perception, where suffering doesn't exist, no matter what's going on around us. With consistent practice, old beliefs dissolve. I've seen people transform in 3 months on education. Someone still writes me and saying that their new norms is always expanded state of consciousness, shallow sleep, and huge energy levels. The miracle is not that manifestation works, it's that once you shift state, you realize abundance was never missing, programs only hid it. You attract what you want very fast and enjoy in the process. There is no longer such childish illusions that if you had $1 million, you would be happy. Look around. Right now, you probably rent a room or a house you already have. Don't take it for granted, and you will be given more. We live inside an interactive hologram. Consciousness sets the frequency, and reality reflects it back. And again, you can set your own rules, but only if they are not from the fears of controlling ego. Awakening reveals there is no ultimate good or bad, only conditions designed for your growth. I really believe who's still searching for happiness just needs to awaken. I want again to name what opens for you after the integration of this state. In an expanded state of consciousness, a whole range of phenomena is possible, from subtle perceptions to deep transformations of personality and body. Here are the main areas. Perceptual capabilities, changing the perception of time and space, a feeling of slowing down or accelerating time, going beyond linear time. Sensory exacerbation, sounds, colors, tactile sensations are perceived brighter and more voluminous. Synesthesia, mixing of channels of perception, hearing colors, seeing sounds. Visions and archetypal images, symbolic pictures from the personal and collective unconscious. Deep integration of traumas, the ability to live through and let go of suppressed emotions, so there is no need to visit psychologists and endlessly remember your past traumas. Any past circumstances become not relevant, not painful, as if happened centuries ago and cannot hurt you in no way. States of unity, the experience of merging with nature, people, the universe. Transformation of identity, going beyond the ego, feeling yourself as a consciousness, not a person. Insights, a sudden understanding of the essence of life situations, relationships, and purpose. Physiological effects, Activation of hidden resources of the brain and nervous system, for example, accelerated regeneration, change in body biochemistry, hormonal surges, endogenous states of euphoria, rejuvenation. Reduction of pain or its complete disappearance due to switching the focus of consciousness. Deep relaxation or energy boost depending on the direction of practice. Parapsychological manifestations, out-of-body experience, and travel to the other levels of reality, subtle perception of other people, empathy, telepathic impressions, access to information they call Akashic records, clairvoyant states, answers from within to important questions, revelations, ability to see in other densities of reality, creativity and self-realization, flow states, when ideas, music, texts are born easily and as if by themselves. Breakthroughs in scientific, artistic, and spiritual searches. This is only the small part of real spiritual awakening. If you are a persistent spirit, there will be more abilities given. In general, an expanded state of consciousness is a way to go beyond the usual limited picture of the world and touch the greater potential of yourself and reality. So if there is one message to carry with you today, it is this. Manifestation is not about forcing or pretending. It's about entering the state where abundance is the baseline. But the deeper truth is that this process never ends. Expansion is infinite. Bliss is endless. The more you stabilize in prana, the less your nervous system needs to rest. Sleep begins to fade because you are powered by pure energy. Body transforms at the molecular level, and any beliefs that you need to take supplements to cover deficiencies sounds weird. Miracles multiply, synchronicities accelerate, reality bends. At that point, you've hacked the matrix, if you like. And here is the paradox. The matrix no longer recognizes you because it was never built to control you. It was also illusion. It was always an interactive hologram, a playground for consciousness, reflecting exactly what you bring to it. This is the real gift of manifestation. Not objects, not outcomes, but the endless unfolding of consciousness itself. If you want more tools to reprogram yourself and stabilize spiritual awakening, you're welcome to join Telegram channel for 3 months or book a consultation with me. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Until next time, stay true and kind, the rest things never mind. Sat Nam.